Britney's soon-to-be ex-husband Sam Asghari has broken his silence, responding on Instagram, and details of their prenup are now coming to light. We have Christopher Melcher to break it all down. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signar, and man, what an honor to have celebrity divorce lawyer Christopher Melcher. This is your area, baby. And I don't know if you heard, but I pitched you. You should be repping Britney, in my opinion, on this case. So that's if it's so, then don't come back, obviously. But I would love your insight. You're not repping Britney or Sam or anybody in this. Yeah. You are free to speak, Christopher.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't represent either party, absolutely. And if I, whenever I do, I don't talk about my clients' cases. So absolutely free to talk about this.
Good, because you are very experienced in this world, and I've been looking forward to hearing your thoughts because, look, let's be honest, there's a lot of gossip going out there, and it's been very scary and frustrating. I haven't liked it. A lot of people just jumping on things that TMZ has reported, forgetting that it was even Sam Asghari who said, don't trust TMZ, 99% of it is clickbait. And I want to start here because this is the first thing we've now heard from Sam or Britney. And Sam put this out after 6 years of love and commitment to each other. My wife and I have decided to end our journey together. We will hold on to the love and respect we have for each other, and I wish her the best always. Shit happens. Asking for privacy seems ridiculous. So I will just ask for everyone, including media, to be kind and thoughtful. I'm curious, I want to start there before we get to prenup and what's expected. As someone who's experienced and done this a lot with celebrities, what is your reaction to this response? Good, bad?
No, that's the response. I think, the timing of it would have been better, had it been earlier. They were separated, I think, in late July from the court papers. So obviously this is going on for a while. It would have been better to get a statement out, preferably even a joint statement out prior to all of us hearing about, well, wow, they broke up and now they're getting divorced and looking at court papers. So the timing of it is a little difficult. And I was on the fence on whether I even wanted to comment on this at all. And a couple reasons is one is that a breakup is not news in my book. People break up all the time and they should have respect and privacy. And I don't want to sensationalize things, number one. Number two, there was all of these I don't even call them news stories. There's tabloid press citing anonymous sources that were giving info for each side, or I should say against each side, and then people running with it on social media as if it's gospel. And it's just unfair to both of them, when they haven't made a statement, to attribute to them something that they did or didn't do based on an anonymous source in a tabloid. So that, I'm glad that he spoke out. It's like, hey, this is coming from me. Now, he's also said, hey, I'm not challenging the prenup.
Yeah, I was going to say, not to interrupt, but I want to make sure, because not only to say that, there's another statement where because this has been out there, there's this rumor that he's about to spread all this embarrassing information, right? But his rep has reached out to a lot of these outlets and said, all these things that you're seeing out there, all these rumors, they're false. He also said he will not be challenging the prenup. Sorry, I thought I had it up here, but yes, his official rep spoke to people in all the reputable places. Is that enough in your opinion? Should he have done more? Do you think that was the right thing to do?
Well, it would have been nice to get out ahead of it. And I think that, we see this when we kind of take a step back and look at any of these stories. There's a lot of bias that happens, and means is that if we're prepared to like someone, we will see the tabloid, anonymous sources. And if it validates what we want to believe, we'll run with it. And if it's negative against somebody we're prepared to dislike, then we just go with it as if it were true. And it's just unfortunate that we're not putting the level of scrutiny that we need on this info. So again, Sam came out during the prenup negotiations, or saying like, hey, appreciate everybody's concern, but I'm going to have an ironclad prenup to protect my shoes and Jeep. That's going to come back to haunt him if he ever did try and challenge the prenup. But he did try and come out there and saying, like, look, I'm not looking for this lady's money. But again, people are going to be prepared to believe what they're going to believe. And I'm just trying to stick with the facts, because that's all I'm doing, is just commenting on the legal issues and not commenting on gossip. So I think it was just like, hey, take a step back. Let's just see what's really going on. So Sam now himself and through his rep have made these various statements. The problem, though, is that his lawyer, when he filled out the divorce papers, checked a couple boxes that are inconsistent with that statement. And that's kind of an issue. Now, again, this is what we do is, legal pundits is like when one of these celeb divorce happens, to file for divorce, it's a check the box form. And so, there's not a lot of thought a lot of times that are honestly put into checking these boxes by these lawyers, even though in retrospect you would think like, man, everyone's going to be looking at this, millions of people, and analyzing, why did he check the spouse support box, why did he check the attorney's fees box? So they could have done a much better job on these boxes, because what Sam's saying in his statement is like, I'm not challenging the prenup. Well, I assume the prenup waives or substantially limits any rights to spouse support, but he's checked the box and he wants spouse support. So if he's not challenging the prenup, better way of filling out that form would have been saying like, hey, I want a judgment to be entered consistent with the prenup that I signed. And then everyone would look at it and say, well, yeah, he signed under oath, filed in Superior Court, a statement that he's not challenging the prenup and he actually wants a judgment to be entered consistent with it. And then we would just leave the guy alone. So again, it's, you could read into these boxes a lot more, just like tea leaves, but when cases are processed by a law office, they're done quickly, and unfortunately, sometimes the level of attention is not put on those boxes, and then we read into them. So there is an inconsistency, I agree, with what boxes he's checking on that form and what he is saying in his statement, but we're going to, get to the bottom of that. I would imagine sooner than later, because I don't imagine that these people are going to fight in court at all.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I'm trying to find, there was a quote specifically for him. I think I have it saved on my phone, but he basically, yeah, here it is. I don't have it on my phone. I screenshot it, but a rep for Asghari. There are many claims that Sam is challenging the prenup and threatening to exploit his ex-wife with videos. Asghari's rep, Brandon Cohen, says, however, all these claims are false, as no negative intention has ever been directed towards her and never will be. Sam has always and will always support her. I mean, I hope that's true, but yes, the problem is you're saying accidental or whatever it was, whatever the reason may be, these divorce documents say otherwise, because he's clearly checking boxes that are going to challenge things that are apparently in this ironclad prenup that doesn't leave him with anything else than what was agreed upon, which you're right. I forgot. He even acknowledged early on in the relationship and said, yep, that's what this is. I mean, if he wants to be the good guy, that's what this should be. And this should just be it didn't work out. I'm not trying to exploit my wife. I'm not trying to make money. And if he's being genuine about that, that's the thing. But I guess, and I don't want to throw up all the rumors here, but there's a lot of rumors here, Christopher. And it's like, is that just the tabloids being tabloids, or from your experience, can that be either side trying to negotiate this potential war that is brewing? Like, how do we know what's real in these situations? That's part of the problem. And I agree of why it's hard to cover these, because it's divorce, right? And thankfully there's no custody to deal with here. But it's going to cause a lot of ugliness to come out. And in your experience, is that common for either side to try to throw the other one under the bus with rumors and sources through these tabloids?
Sure, absolutely, and it's there's a combo of that. So one, sometimes people are going to use the tabloid media as a weapon against their former romantic partner, or to kind of control the narrative, however you want to phrase that. So sometimes that'll happen. Not suggesting it is here, but sometimes we see that. The other times is that the tabloid itself just wants clicks. It wants to get these things viewed, and they will take whatever source is available to them, and highly dubious sources, without any vetting at all, because they can run with it and get the clicks. So that's my suspicion, is more of that is happening. I'm not suggesting that Britney's camp is trying to say anything negative about Sam, but these tabloids, they make money by these clicks, and if the more sensationalized they can make it, they're going to do it. And if they have somebody, some anonymous source, hey, I think this is happening, they're going to run with it. That's not news. If it's coming from a reputable media outlet, then we'd give it more credence. But still, anonymous sources means unreliable, untested. We can't show it is true or false. and now I'm trying to rely on documents. So there was a lot of noise at the beginning, and that's why I didn't really want to make any comments, because it's just sensationalism. And whatever the reasons are for these two people breaking up, it's a heartbreaking thing. I mean, it's like, this is a terrible thing for both of them to go through, and to have that all like sensationalized. This is not fair to either one of them. And again, I'm trying to rely on what statements the party directly is making, and then what they're saying in court. Like I say, there is an inconsistency in what boxes he's checking on the form. I blame that, though, on the attorney for not being careful enough. And my sense is that they're going to settle this quick. Even had there not been a prenup, they're married 13 months. And I say 13 months because we measure it from the date of marriage to the date of separation, although technically they're married, until a divorce court judge says they're not. But it's a 13-month marriage for purposes of us looking at any property or support rights. That's like a second. Even without a prenup, he's not going to have really any rights. And especially with the prenup that he himself said he wanted, an ironclad one, he's going to get whatever that prenup provides. There's been reporting that it will give him $1 million for every 2 years of marriage, with some kind of cap of maybe 15 million or something after 10 years. Remember, some kind of like language like that. Again, I have not laid eyes on it. This is reporting that sources back from page 6 that quotes U.S. Weekly. So, you take it for what it is. But there are normally provisions in any prenup that you're going to give somebody something. And, I've done a video about this actually pre-marriage on when I was still doing YouTube stuff. And the reason is because if you have a prenup that provides nothing, they're going to challenge it. I mean, if you're married to somebody and your prenup says you get nothing, then why wouldn't you challenge that prenup? So usually there's going to be what we call consideration. There's going to be saying, hey, if we break up and you don't fight with me, in divorce court, and you sign, a judgment here, you get some money. And so it probably does say something like that. And the question or the fight may be over whether it's prorated. Maybe the prenup says that he has to have a complete 2 years of marriage, which he only has 13 months of. And maybe the fight is over, hey, you didn't make it to month 24 and you don't get your $1 million. And maybe he's saying, hey, I want prorated 13 divided by 24 and give me whatever that is, 600,000.
Is there a version of this where the opposite holds true? Like, do you think, and again, now we are speculating, but just from experience since you have done this, is there a version where someone can be exploitative and basically, even with the prenup, say, sorry, I'm going to do this. I got a lot of dirt on you, and yeah, I signed it, but screw you. I'm going to do it. And obviously, I'm not saying, I don't know if he's doing this. I'm trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, but all these rumors are out there. Could he be playing both sides? Like, is that part of the thing where it's like, sure, he wants to look good on the face, and that's why a lot of fans are suspicious, but maybe he is actually trying to do this behind the scenes, and now Britney and team are obligated to figure out, okay, what can we do? And can they do that? I mean, what's frustrating is these insane theories and garbage are already all out there. Like, what typically do you do? And final thoughts on sort of like, how should Britney's team navigate this if he is being that type of person behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, this is common, unfortunately. We do these prenups the best that we can. We make very strong prenups, and, counsel's involved, and these are like 40-page documents, but they're often challenged in court. And so what ends up happening is that usually there is some kind of settlement because people don't want to tangle in divorce court, especially if they're a public figure. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe shook the tree a little bit and was just like, hey, maybe I want some more money or whatever. But again, we're not talking big dollars here. So Britney is in no risk at all. She could go to court, and if that is what's needed, and she'll be just fine. But I kind of imagine this is going to be done quietly. He may have came out and said, hey, I want a little bit more. Or maybe, like I say, it was a proration issue where her lawyer was taking the position that, hey, you have to have 24 months of marriage, and he's saying, well, hey, I got 13 out of 24, give me 600 grand instead of the million for the whole 24. And then maybe that is treated as, hey, he's trying to undo the prenup. Who knows? Very speculative, but...
And would this be considered blackmail? Is there any version of that or not really, because it's just the relationship and his details of his relationship that if it wasn't through NDA, it's safe to give out?
Well, on that issue, just contract interpretation dispute is certainly not blackmail or extortion, but saying, hey, if you don't pay me money, I'm going to expose you, that is extortion or blackmail. So that, if that were happening, that would land him in serious trouble. And, and what's also been reported is that there's non-disclosure, confidentiality provisions in the prenup, which I got to think are in there. Now, if he doesn't have any money, like he said, he's got a shoe collection and a Jeep, what does he care if he gets a big judgment against him? So this is the problem when you have a celeb client, or let me just say very wealthy client, versus somebody who doesn't have really any money, and that person is threatening to do all this bad stuff. The only hammer that we really have against them is just saying, okay, well, if you lose, you're going to have to pay all of Britney's attorney's fees, you could have this big judgment against you, but he doesn't have any money, what does he care? So this is why a lot of these cases settle. Again, we have no idea if any threats were made or any of that stuff. Again, it's been reported, but not by any credible source.
Right.
So if anyone's like, oh no, but page 6, show me who said that. Show me, go back to that article and name the person who made that allegation. You will not be able to do that. And because you can't name the person, why do we believe it? It's not New York Times or Wall Street Journal or whatever outlet that you think is has credibility. Or not to disparage Page 6 or TMZ or anything here, but gee, quoting an anonymous source, that doesn't cut it for me. I'm not relying on that. But also, like I say, I wouldn't put it past anyone because it does happen.
And Sam's comment here is what we should base it on right now. Let's give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, this is an emotional time, and we'll wait for more information. Always a pleasure, Christopher. Thank you for that insight. Guys, stay tuned for more, and make sure you follow Christopher over on Twitter at @CA_divorce for more theories and stories, etc. Appreciate you as always, guys. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. That bell for alerts. Smash that thumbs up. I don't know why there it goes. Sometimes it's a little delayed. And leave a comment down below. What do you think? I want to hear your theories, but let's be, again, kind and thoughtful in the words of Sam. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more. We'll be live over on Popcorn Palace, so go join us over there if you want to hang. Thanks, everybody.